Hey Kim, this is your warning. It's a very long video. Hit pause and go get your coffee. In 2 days, this will be 7 weeks from when I made my first video for you, which I published on your birthday. Isn't that crazy? Here we go. I came out to start a little full tour of the yard because it's been a couple of weeks, gosh, maybe even 3. And the little eastern cottontail that's about twice as big as it was when I first saw it is in the shadows there in the clover, eating the clover right there. So I'm gonna give her a few minutes to finish eating, and then I will. Ooh, good, the sun went down. Now you can see her better. Then I'll start the tour. What's going on over here? All right, here's the scarlet or red bee balm that I transplanted this spring because I have too many. That did really well. Here's the raspberries. This is first year growth. We'll get something possibly on this in the fall. Here's, I'm making a shadow here. Here is our raspberries. Once again, I don't get too many at this time of year, but in the fall we usually have, here's some white. We usually have a much bigger crop. And these, I just transplanted these 2 years ago, so we're not gonna have a lot there. This is my Niger feeder and my hummingbird feeder, which I have yet to see a hummingbird come to. Got a milkweed there and a milkweed here. And a lot of this stuff just was growing. I haven't changed a lot of stuff since we moved in here, but this I did. This Joe Pye weed I transplanted. My neighbor had extra, and this it's good for pollinators, so that's a good one to have around. All right, then we've got, my father-in-law did a little trimming. This tree over here should really, be pulled out, but he trimmed all that, so this looks a little more open over here now. This is my gooseberry bush, which is doing quite well. Hopefully next year it gets flowers on it. This, I think I've mentioned before, is for native bees. I've separated it out with cork so they're not as close to each other. This was all these little spots before, but if any of them get disease, then it's going to end up being bad for all of them. They don't nest that close together naturally. Here's my rhubarb. I've picked it 3 times. I've made 3 pies so far. And my blueberry bushes. We've been getting like a handful every day from this bush, just snacking on them. Here's my jalapeno peppers, which I'm probably gonna have to separate soon. This is my pole green bean that's now trying to figure out where to go, because that's definitely not tall enough for it. I'm thinking like this little vine went out here. I'm thinking they're gonna end up coming along here. This was my one summer squash I transplanted. I am planning on putting a box around it and getting rid of this. I hate this stuff. It's so flimsy, but it's also good because then the squirrels can't climb on it so well. Then over here are, this is a wildflower. It just grew by itself. I can't remember what it's called, but apparently it's native, so I left it. Oh yeah, here's my chives. My chives are crazy. I'm using them a lot. These are, brown-eyed Susans. They will be blooming in about a month, I think. Here's my tomato plants, and I've got a couple. You can see this right here. I had a couple of whole green beans growing in there with them to help put some nitrogen in the soil. And here, there's a lot of growth happening now on the cucumber plants and the other summer squashes that are in here. I still have some lettuce. I gotta pick some of this. This is getting crazy. It's gonna flower soon. And then I threw in a couple more seeds. Oh look, here's our friend. Here's our friend again. Do you see him? There's little bunny. Hi, little bunny. Do you want to come eat some of my food? But I'm gonna redo this stuff. But anyway, you can see in there the cucumbers are getting a lot of flowers. I'm trying to control them and have them grow up so they can grow up this. Here's the pole green bean. But right now it was really, really hot. And so right now I think mostly what we have on here is male flowers because it's too hot for them to expend energy on female flowers. But as soon as I see the female flowers, I'm going to run out here and make sure they get pollinated. And then if we come back this way, there's still a lot of the brown-eyed Susans here. You can see the red or scarlet bee balms in there. The annual fleabane that's native there. Then my Shasta daisies, which are not native. And then we have the swamp milkweed here. And we've got some more of it over here. And this is the New England aster, which will get little tiny aster daisy-like flowers that will be purple closer to the fall, late summer. It'll be full of pollinators, it always is. Now here are my tomatoes that are actually have tomatoes on. You see here, got a couple tomatoes here, I got a couple tomatoes here, I got a couple tomatoes here, but I've had a lot of flowers, but I think, you know, it was really hot, and like I said, it's sometimes, you know, the plant gets stressed and won't give energy to things, so I haven't seen any new tomatoes pop out with all that hot weather. And then, let's see, down here, I have my scallions. I'm going to pick a couple of those for tomorrow's graduation party. It's just us and the wolves because they have 2 graduates and we have 2 graduates, and it's just been crazy that we haven't been able to have a party. And then this is my other tomato plant, which has gotten really tall, and it's finally getting flowers on it. Oops, I got distracted by trying to get these little pieces off here of the trimming that happened a couple days ago. And here's more, a second nice New England aster plant, more Shasta daisies and bee balm, more brown-eyed Susans, and up here we've got the wild yellow coneflower, which is just, you can see, just starting to get their petals, but pretty soon all of these little dots here, I don't even know what to call them, each one of them will turn black, and then they'll get pollen on them, and then they will be covered with the pollinators. Then I've got a couple more milkweed plants here. And we've got a sedum down here that the neighbors gave my father-in-law 3 years ago that gets tons of pollinators in the fall. And then if we come around to the front, nice milkweed right here in the center. It's obviously also good for the pollinators. Lots of things like it, not just monarchs. That's where I had, we have those big moths that look like, oh, look at the nice bumblebee. We have the big moths that look like hummingbirds come to the milkweed as well. And then, oh, down here we have some honeybees flying around. Oh, and look, a sweat bee. Oops, he just flew away. Sorry, didn't mean to disturb you. Wait, he's coming back. Come on, land down there. They got that metallic green head. They're so cool. I love watching all the different pollinators. I never knew there were so many pollinators. It's so exciting to have native flowers and have like dozens and dozens of different pollinators you've never seen show up and start pollinating your plants. Oh, and here, can't forget these guys. These are little inchworms, which somebody told me they will end up being moths, but there's like 50 different species of moths they could end up being, so nobody knows when you see the little inchworms what they're going to grow up to be. So here are some pictures I took this week of the critters that have visited my garden. I don't know why I didn't mention the purple coneflower when I was just walking around in the yard, but here it is. I've got lots of it, and here's a bumblebee. Next we have, I don't know what kind of bee this is, little bee. This is a honeybee, so already you can see lots of bees. This is a leafhopper, and on top of the picture is a fly. This is another bee that I can't identify. This as well. This is the cabbage white butterfly, considered a pest, especially for people growing food. And here is the eastern black swallowtail butterfly. I've seen lots of swallowtails over the year coming in out of my yard, but I've never really been able to get a good video of one. And this swallowtail stayed in my yard for quite a while. This was just like 2 days ago. I've seen the tiger swallowtail, the yellow one, but I have not been able to snap a picture. It's just kind of like flown in and out, or I've scared it up. And then I have our little house mouse on the stump here. It's kind of hard to see, but he's right in the middle. And then here, was just the other day as well, is the Nessus sphinx moth, which they're really cool. There's this whole group of large moths that people mistake for hummingbirds. I think a couple of them are actually called hummingbird moths. They're common names, but this is the Nessus sphinx moth. It is not a hummingbird moth. So next I'll do a short video of the next wildflower in my garden for you. And I'll post it soon. Ciao.